All right, good evening, everybody. We are at 6:30, so we will call the meeting to order. In compliance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the Act in the following manner. A meeting notice was published in the newspaper and in the Daily Record, on the district website on January 17th, 2024. In addition, the notice of the meeting was posted at the municipal building, in the schools, and a copy of the notice filed with the township clerk and transmitted to other newspapers on October 1st, 2024. They include Daily Record, Star Ledger, Parsippany Focus, Tap into Parsippany, Parsippany Patch, and the district website. This regular public board meeting is being video recorded as per bylaw 0168. The recordings of these meetings will be available on our district website and our Video on the Go YouTube channel. We ask that you please refrain from using student or staff names in your statement. Professionalism is expected at all times. May we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Abraham? Here. Mr. Barrios?
Here.
Mrs. Kogan?
Here.
Mrs. Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Rea?
Here.
Mrs. Chappelle?
Here.
Dr. Wright?
Here.
Mrs. Golder is not here.
She's absent.
Mr. Chapa?
Yes. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have our student committee reports. I see Sharia. Good evening. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Good evening, all. I hope you all are doing well today. Starting this month's PHHS report with student council updates. We're currently in the midst of preparing for the upcoming fall pep rally, which will be held on October 25th, the second half of the school day. As of now, we're working on sending out pep rally game signups for the student body and finalizing the script. Student council is also simultaneously working on the homecoming dance, which will be held on Saturday, October 26th. We've started to circulate homecoming forms and started to sell tickets as well. Furthermore, the student council exploring advertising / promoting homecoming on TikTok along with our already effective methods, such as the Daily Viking News, posters, emails, the board in the front of the school, and of course, word of mouth. Student council will also start preparing for Halloween at the Hills soon, which will be held on Wednesday, October 30th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Additionally, student council attended the fall NJSAC conference at TCNJ on Tuesday, October 8th. And there are also 2 Spirit Weeks coming up, Violence Awareness Week, which will be held from the 14th to the 18th, and then the Homecoming Spirit Week from the 21st to the 25th. That is everything for student council. Moving on to individual class offices, the senior class has their senior sunrise scheduled for tomorrow, October 11th. The field gates will be opened at approximately 6 a.m. and students will be directed to exit the field around 7:15 to 7:20 a.m. All right, moving on to PHHS athletics. Bar Hills football will host West Morris today, October 10th at 7 p.m. Girls tennis remains undefeated, winning all 13 games, the latest one being against Mount Olive on October 4th, beating them 3-2. Boys soccer lost their second round counties game away against Randolph High School 2-1. Girls volleyball had their senior night on Wednesday, October 9th against Parsippany High School and won the game 2-0. That is everything for today's PHHS report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have any board members have questions for Sharia? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to suspend our normal agenda for presentations this evening. We have 2. The first by Ms. Rachel Villanueva, Coordinating Supervisor of 6 through 12 Science and Industrial Arts, and Mr. Brian McCourt, Coordinating Supervisor of 6 through 12 Mathematics Business. And they will give a presentation on the dual enrollment and early admittance program to NJIT. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to see everybody. Believe it or not, we have some fun data. I know that's not always the case, but we're excited to be here. We have been in contract with NJIT for 2 different agreements, dual enrollment and advanced admissions. for the past 4 years. So we just had our first cohort graduate from advanced admissions, and we're heading into our 5th year. So we just wanted to share with you the progress and what's been going on and some of the next steps that we're looking to take. Just as a reminder, dual enrollment is offered only to 11th and 12th grade students. That's an NJIT rule. It's where they can take classes here at Parsippany Troy Hills School District and earn college credit. We have 10 different courses that we offer now: AP Stats, Forensics, Honors Engineering Design, Calculus, just to name a few. And the students can take those classes. They have an NJIT transcript, and they have the ability to potentially transfer those credits to the university of their choice. They'd have to look and see if that university would accept them, but it is a possibility, and we do know that many students are able to transfer those credits. In addition, we have an advanced admission contract, and that is open to 9th graders. This contract is where students apply in their 9th grade year. They need to have a 3.0 GPA, and NJIT will guarantee them a spot in any major of their choice if they maintain that 3.0 through their 4 years of attending Parsippany Troy Hills School District. And the application is 5 minutes. It doesn't cost a thing. It's non-binding. And the average GPA to get into NJIT is 3.7. So it really does help a lot of our students along the way. So as we go through our presentation tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about credits earned, money saved, and just who's actually attending NJIT.
Hi, everybody. I'd also like to say, just last night, we met with the parents and the student in the cohort of the 2025. There's approximately 80 students that are part of the advanced admissions, so hopefully all 80 take advantage of it. But we'll get to the data from last year's cohort that actually committed to NJIT. But the parent outreach, we have a bunch of meetings throughout the school year as well. And it really is a great opportunity. I'm new to the district. I started last January. This is an agreement that is not in many other schools. I couldn't tell you what other schools have the advanced admissions. Couldn't tell you. So Rachel and my predecessor did a great job bringing this to the district. This is my job.
That's your job.
All right, so why NJIT? So we actually, when we were meeting with Steve Eck from the admissions, he happened to have this information for us readily available. So NJIT is the #1 national public school, according to the New York Times College Ranking Tool. The Wall Street Journal also ranks it as the #2 public university in the U.S. and the #19 best colleges in the U.S. And then the other 2 accolades are there for you guys to read as well. So we think it's a great opportunity. It's a great school. And we hope that, again, all 80 of those students take advantage for next year, maintaining that 3.0. All right. Now to look at some data. So we're talking about the dual enrollment to start. So in 2021, there was 1 course that was offered in this agreement. And that was just pre-calculus. Now there's 10 courses. And Rachel will talk about it at the end, but we're always looking to add and working with our teachers. But that's great growth in terms of the number of courses in just a short 5 years. The success rate, if you look at the pie chart in the top right-hand corner, you can see that the average is 97% across the 5 years. So that's the students who sit for a dual enrollment course and achieve the credit. So almost every student is guaranteed if they take the course at Parsippany Troy Hills, and they'll get college credits. And then our student participation, so over the 5-year period, 260 students enrolled in the dual enrollment, and they've earned a total of 1,335 credits, which again, it's just a great opportunity to go into college, and some of these students have almost a full semester, full year under their belt, which again, it's incredible. I wish I had this opportunity when I went through school. So turn it back over to Rachel. Still more money.
You want to talk?
I'll talk about money. I like money.
Give us the math.
All right, so savings. The title says it all. So the significant savings for families, if a student was to go to NJIT, 1 credit is approximately $800. and that doesn't include the technology fee and all of the fees. We charge, with our agreement, it's $150 per credit. So most of our courses are 3 credits. So a student is looking at $450 versus $2,400 plus fees. It's great savings, great savings. And you can see, look at the bar chart, how much money. So again, the resultant total savings, it's a big number, $765,601 saved over this 5 years. And we look forward to offering more opportunities for our students. We're on calls with the parents all the time. We offer a lunch and learn for the parents, and we try to sell it to them because we want as many people to take advantage as possible. Anything else there? You sure? You sure?
All right, so now we're going to shift over to early admissions. This is that 9th grade contract that comes about once they enter high school. So if you look at that bottom right chart, you're going to see that the growth, our 2024 class, there are 35 students that attended NJIT. That is incredibly higher than it was the prior year with 13 students. And we do think that's attributed to both contracts, not just one or the other. Of that 35, 15 students were part of that early admissions cohort, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if 100 students were in the cohort, 15 of them choosing to go to the same school is actually a pretty high number. Of those 15 students who were advanced admissions, 5 had a GPA under that 3.7 that's generally accepted. So I think with this contract, we could probably surmise that that really did help them get into this school. One of the other interesting facts that Brian didn't mention is that NJIT is one of the only 3 universities in New Jersey to be rated as R1, a research level 1. The only other 2 are Princeton and Rutgers. They have 140 plus research labs, and they're working with Hackensack Medical. I've had the luxury of going to see all their labs, and they do. I've seen stem cell research there, working with pharmaceuticals and hip replacements, and they're working with Hackensack Medical all the time. So their facilities are really becoming state of the art. It's pretty impressive. If you ever get a chance to go, it's actually mind blowing how much they've improved their facilities. Besides those 5 students, we also calculated how many of those students took advantage of the dual enrollment as well. Because if you can take advantage of both contracts, you're really going to benefit. And 50% of the students took advantage of the dual enrollment who were in early admissions. And you could see that we increased their enrollment by 115%, which we're hoping to use to our advantage as we kind of partner with them further. So that leads us to our next steps. Now we have our first set of data. We have to decide what we're going to do with our data. Where do we go from here? So community awareness. Yes, we do the lunch and learns, the emails, the presentations, but I think that we still can reach more families to show them the savings, show them the benefits. So we're trying to find creative ways to maybe get out into the community and educate them a little bit more about the opportunities that we have here in district. Continue to work with NJIT, maybe get our field trips over there, get them into the makerspace, and just foster that partnership a little bit more to get students a little bit more experiential learning. And then also, I think one thing that was staggering to us is that we noticed a lot of the students that are attending NJIT, those 35 students, took courses that qualified for dual enrollment, but didn't actually pay for the credits. So how do we make that connection? Because that was a lost opportunity for saving money. So we want to look into that and make sure that we can get all the families to take advantage and save as much as they can for the future, because we know college is very, very expensive. So those are the things that we're going to start working on. We're excited to continue to build this and hopefully, change some students' lives, get them into a university that maybe they didn't think they could get into. The last little bit on here is really just the breakdown of each year and a little bit more data that you guys can take a look at on your own of the different savings per year. Anything else you'd like to add? All right. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions?
Michelle, please.
So thank you very much for this. It is a fantastic program. My daughter got to partake in it, so I'm very grateful
Oh,
for
good.
everything that you did. I have 2 questions.
Sure.
One, this may be naive, so please bear with me. Do you know the 529 plans that parents invest into? I know that are typically used for college education. Is that something they can apply to high school credits too?
I think we've had that question asked before, and I believe the answer is no, because they're not actually enrolled in college, but we could double check with Steve Eck on that.
Okay. I mean, just 'cause like you're saying,
Yeah.
any way that we can help our parents, pay for college, and if it means that they can apply it to, while they're earning college credits in high school, that would be a fantastic opportunity.
Absolutely, and I think we should double check and definitely look into that.
Okay.
Love that, thank you.
Try to find selling points.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the second one is, when I was at the board booth at the Fall Festival, I had a number of students and parents come up to me asking me about these programs. If you did not have a dedicated booth, that might be a prime opportunity for you to raise awareness.
Good, thank you, I love the ideas, keep them coming.
Thanks, Michelle. Wendy?
Thank you so much. This is great. I know, I work at William Patterson, and we love our dual enrollment programs and are always kind of looking for more. So this is a really robust one. It's fantastic. I think I had two questions. One, do we know how those 17 who enrolled in 2021 are they doing? Are they still there? Do we have from this slide, the 17, because they would be what? They'd be juniors or seniors this year?
Yeah, I would have to check to see if they would even release that type of information for us. That might be beyond our scope.
Probably fine,
But we could look into see if we can get any information from alumni.
Great. And the other one, I was thinking about, what is the timeline on which students decide to take the dual enrollment course and when they have to pay that $450?
So what happens is around scheduling time in January, we send out a communication saying, hey, heads up, scheduling's coming out. All of these courses qualify for dual enrollment. Keep that in mind when you're going through that scheduling process. We spam their email just to make sure that we try to get it out there. And then we generally open payment between April and July 3rd. Because what happens is we are actually the middleman for collecting the payment. So we have to collect the payment, process the payment, then we send it over to Robin to invoice, and it's a lengthy process. So we have to collect it in the summertime in order to prep it for fall.
So ideally, they have from January to July.
To know about that,
Figure that.
Correct.
Right.
And we send the emails out to middle of 10th grade, so then they already know way ahead of time for if you're going into 12th grade.
Great, thank you so much.
And we even sent an email out to the students that they registered for a course that qualified and are you interested to move forward? And there's also, we disclosed this year too, when they could have signed up and then if they could have backed out at a certain date. Or if there was a scheduling change, we were able to make the adjustment, I think, by September 1st, which was, first second day school. So we
Yeah.
had the time to do that.
Yeah, we use the summer to double check their schedules, because sometimes they sign up for a class and they're not even in the class, and we want to make sure that they get their refund.
Tim?
Thank you. This is excellent. Thank you very much. A lot of great work and compliments. I have two questions there. It's pretty straightforward. When you're doing your outreach, in general, what's the feedback that you get? Is it mostly positive? Do you have anybody going oh, $450, wow, that's a lot of money? I mean, what's the general?
I think people are really excited about the savings of money. I
Okay.
think that's a big selling
Good.
point. Yeah, absolutely. I think some people would love to see even more dual enrollment contracts. That's just limited based on
Right.
different universities and their policies. But we're
Okay.
always looking for new opportunities.
So generally, it's positive feedback, whether or not it transitions into an actual enrollment or not, but it's positive in general.
Correct, yes.
Excellent, that's good news. You may have covered this, and I may have missed it, but on the first slide, well, not the first one, the one that says NJIT data from 20 through 21. On that one chart, it's not the chart actually, it's a bar graph. I see a marker here that loss of credit. What is that exactly?
So that would be where a student, unfortunately, lost credit for the course.
Okay.
So they either didn't maintain the minimum grade,
Okay,
they earned credit, or sometimes the student might move out of the district.
Right,
Right,
would-
and your IT reports that information back
Okay.
to us, so.
All right, so that's fine. Yeah, that would make sense to me. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Allison, please.
I just had a question on the communications. You said you send the students the emails, and obviously the parents get involved somehow because they came to your program. But does anything go out on Genesis? Because I know I've had my share of high schoolers go through, and I get maybe 1 out of every 10 emails that comes through. So just because you send it to the students doesn't mean the parents
No,
know.
we send it to the parents as well in the communication. When we flag who's taking the classes, when we send out the scheduling email, it goes out to students and parents.
Jack, please.
Tim's question begged another question. The loss of credit, is it if somebody moves, say, they leave the district, can they transfer to another district or no? That's why they lose the credit?
So the courses have to be taught by our teachers. So our teachers
Okay, all right.
applied, got vetted, our curriculum was vetted.
Okay.
Suppose if the other district was in kind of contact with NGI too.
Then they would probably still accept it.
Anyone else?
Great program, really great.
Rachel Bryan, thank you so much for
Thanks,
spending,
Rachel. Thanks for
time
doing
with
a great
us.
job.
And we have a second presentation by Dr. Sutter and Ms. Corey Wageza.
Right.
And it's a long title. So it is on Student Safety Data System Report, Period 2, 2023-2024, and the program determining HIB grades.
Thank you, Mr. Chaffo. I don't think mine's going to be as exciting as theirs was. On tonight's bulletin, you'll notice the Student Safety Data Systems Report for period 2, which references incidences from January 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. The report is a culmination of harassment, intimidation, bullying incidences, substance abuse incidences, as well as incidences of violence, vandalism, and weapons in our 14 district schools. It's important to note that the BOE reviews, asks questions, and discusses incidences of HIB and suspensions at each board meeting so they can be proactive and provide suggestions and helpful ideas. While we would like to see 0 incidences in our schools, the reality is the district has 14 schools and almost 7,000 students. Anybody has any questions? I'm going to turn the presentation over to Corey Wageza now, who is our HIB specialist. Corey?
I wanted to have like a fun sidekick after watching Rachel and Brian like I need. Good evening, nice to see you all. So through its school safety and school climate teams, each school is required annually to complete a self-assessment to check its compliance with the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. So the self-assessment scores that you have before you are for the 2023-2024 school year, and the maximum grade that a school can receive is a 78. The self-assessment tool includes 8 core elements that address the requirements for the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. Examples of some of the core elements include HIB programs, approaches, or initiatives, trainings on policy and procedures, HIB personnel, and incident reporting. Within each of the core elements, there are specific indicators which the team assesses, and those are from a scale from 0 to 3 for each indicator. Please keep in mind that a 2 means that you have met the requirements, a 3 means that you have exceeded the requirements. So the scores in front of you, even though there's a small range between them, those are all very, very strong scores, and all of our schools met the requirements on all of the indicators, with the huge majority of them exceeding on the majority of the indicators. So core element number 4, indicator B, reads, the school observed the week of respect during the week beginning with the first Monday in October of each year, recognizing the importance of character education by providing age-appropriate instruction focusing on HIB prevention. So this is the week of respect, and there's a lot of wonderful things going on throughout the district. So I'd like to just share a few highlights of some of the things that we have going on, because it's really fun to watch and hear about. So at Northvale School, in addition to daily respect challenges, Spirit Days, and the Candy Corn Conundrum activity, members of the Student Council are going into all of the K-2 classrooms to speak with those students about respect and read the book, The Recess Queen by Alexis O'Neill. Mount Tabor had respect-themed spirit days and a respect choice board that went home with the students for them to do at home and work on with their families and discuss respect. They also have a monthly SEL calendar, and this week was dedicated to respect and included challenges for the students such as invite someone new to play with you at recess, try to complete 3 acts of kindness over the weekend, 1 for a family member, 1 to a friend, and 1 to yourself. BMS is engaged in Catch a Great Night, so teachers and staff are always finding ways to highlight the good that students do. So they're paying even closer attention right now and watching for students being kind, being respectful, and all of those students were entered into a lottery, which they can then earn a pizza lunch with the BMS administrators, which they will use to enjoy a great lunch together, but also to talk about ways to make improvements to the BMS school community. PHS hosted a Week of Respect Spirit Week. Today's theme was tie-dye, treat everyone with peace, love, and kindness. They also held a service night in which students wrote positive messages on Post-its that were then posted all over the building. So some of the messages included, you are loved and you are worthy, appreciate every moment in life, and you are destined for greatness. In addition, the district SEL committee also started a positive pumpkin initiative in all 14 schools. So our staff members can secretly decorate and fill out a positive pumpkin for one of their colleagues, which states why they're grateful for that person. The pumpkin gets hung outside their classroom or office door, and the chain continues with the goal of every staff member getting pumpkin picked. So we're off to a great start this year, thanks to the strong collaboration of our staff and students, and looking forward to a great year.
That's great.
Any questions?
Any questions for Mrs. Ogeza? No? And you didn't need a sidekick for this. You did great.
Oh, thank you, because I was getting a little jealous
Now
of the
you're
two of them.
great.
They had a cute thing going on.
Corey, thank you so much.
Of
Thanks,
course.
Corey. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any correspondence to come before the board?
No.
Thank you, Robin. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Okay, seeing none. Technically, there's no committee reports, but I think Tim wanted to speak to our marijuana seminar that you went to, and I think Judy has a couple of things that she wanted to address. So why don't we start with Tim?
Thank you. So, towards the end of September, I attended, it was a session that was given for the town on, there's been a lot of discussion about the cannabis and dispensaries, especially in Parsippany. If anybody's had the pleasure of attending any of our council meetings, is usually a topic of conversation. And, you know, there's been a lot of information out there, a lot of feelings, pro and con. So the two folks who are looking to open this business up wanted to actually have a session where they could do a presentation. The presentation was not a presentation to change anybody's mind, was just basically give information, and I wanted to go because I needed to educate myself on the topic, and I really felt it to be beneficial. Fellow board members, the packet is up on the your board packet on the website, so you can look at it if you choose. Basically, Cassandra Grasso, who is a co-founder and CEO of Happy Days Boutique. She's also with her husband, Dr. Sean Astorga. Hope I said that right. They are the entrepreneurs, and they are looking to open the business. And in their presentation, they spoke about some of the stereotypical pictures that we all have in our mind, and what it is that this is and is not. How there are benefits. They shared their own personal life stories. So it was a lot of good information. And like I said, it lasted about an hour, and it was not meant to, you know, change anybody's mind, no matter which way you were leaning. It was just more to say is, here's what this is, and let me tell you what it is not. I was very appreciative, and I appreciated them putting it on, because it did make me aware of things that I wasn't aware of. You know, it's, there's still a long road to hoe for these folks at the council level, but I wanted to bring this information to the board. Educate yourself if you would like to know more. And I'm sure these folks would be more than happy to talk to you, so that's my report.
Thanks, Tim. Any questions for Tim on that? Both the individuals that Tim referenced, Cassandra and Sean, have attended board meetings, and they attend quite a few of the council meetings. And Tim, the council is considering an ordinance to approve the dispensary at some point. Is that where that stands?
Yeah, it's on a slow walk, but yes.
Okay. And they were going to hire an expert or commission a study of this?
As of 2 council meetings ago, the mayor's office hired an attorney whose suit was on this subject matter, seems to have a lot of background, so he was going to help, and also it would be an ordinance and a resolution, because there's currently a resolution or an ordinance on the books that does not allow this. One of the things that came out is, like, for example, a vaping shop, which it falls out of the category of a cannabis dispensary. There is a workaround in the process in which they could probably sell some type of CBT or CBD products without calling it a dispensary. So I think that some of this, the current laws or current ordinances and laws on Parsippany need to be looked at and updated. And then I believe that if it were to go through the council and pass, and the ordinance and would go through, my understanding is it would still take them about a year from the time it got approved to actually open the door. So there's a long road to go, and they're still working on it, but the township has hired an expert in the field, so we should hear more in the future.
Thank you. Questions for Tim? No? Michelle, did you have something?
No, I have that,
Oh.
I have a committee to report on when you're.
Okay, we'll go to Judy on the PTA council and
Yes.
NJ CUSAC.
Yes, thank you. PTA council meeting was on the 8th. I think all of the schools were represented, except for one, I think, but it was well attended by the principals and by the presidents of the PTAs. It started off with, start of the school year, Bob was telling them that he'd been to all the schools and that the Littleton project will be done in a month. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and he talked about the AP capstone project on vaping that he had already told us about, but he told them about it, and that, you know, they went to libraries, they've gone to the elementary schools, they formed a company called Peer Aid Company, I believe. So they're really coming forward with that information, which is great. Then he talked about Bob Lenahan being our new security director, that he would be checking all the schools. He was retired, but now he's back doing that. He was in our SRO. He's in charge of the drills, so he will be monitoring all the schools. Then there was a very large conversation about graduation for the 5th graders, how much of a fund should be for each student. It was set at $125, and there was much discussion about different programs that different schools put on, and you know, it was just a whole lot of talk. And so I remember when Dr. Sargent discussed this with the PTAs, it was more or less to make sure that the schools were kind of on the same level of celebration. You know, one school didn't have breakfasts and parties and 20 million things, or another school didn't have as much. So they talked about that. They talked about buyouts for parents, that they could just flat out give the money, but some of the principals were saying that that really was not equitable because some parents might not feel comfortable doing that. So the long and the short of it was that Dr. Sutter agreed to up it to $130 per student because the bus was up to $5 more for the field trip that they would take.
Right.
So, and then to review it later on to see how that worked. But Principal Walk was kind of like, you know, is anybody having a problem? And nobody said yes, so why are we even having this conversation? So that's the way it was left. So hopefully everybody will be comfortable with that. Any questions on that? Okay. Yesterday, I guess it was, yes, the CUSAC committee met for the first time. The administrative staff was Dr. Sutter, Mr. Ricker, Mr. Courtwright, and Mrs. Banos, Robin, Dr. Mulrooney, and then we had 2 teachers there, Mr. Hill and Tara Snellings, and then somebody from the collective bargaining rep was Jeanette
DiGiacomo.
Yes, that one. Okay, so it was just good that there was representation by all. It talked about what CUSAC was, the national, you know, it's done every 3 years, and there are instruction and program, fiscal, governance, operations, personnel. And they go and they talk to, like, they'll talk to Mr. Ricker about personnel, they'll, you know, do him, and then they'll talk to Dr. Mulrooney about curriculum. So they really come in strong. So they gave us, you know, how they're, you know, this grading system where the district now goes through it and puts down what they believe are the values that, like, you can get a 10 for, you know, an indicator. There's point scores, okay? So they do that, and then there's a timeline. After they do that, it's sent to the board for review, okay, just to see how they scored. Then it goes back to the committee, the CUSAC committee, and then board approval will be the end of October, and then it's submitted in November. And then we have, in March, they actually come, and that's the whole day of, you know, Dr. Sutter was saying they could ask for anything, randomly pick a teacher to see what that teacher, you know, observations, make sure they've had observations, make sure they have a physical folder, you know, for health, as well as their teaching folders. So each teacher has to have 2 folders, little things that you really have to make sure you've covered the bases. And Dr. Sutter has been through this, so he kind of has a handle on it, what needs to be done. You know, we've always scored very well with CUSAC, so I can't imagine that we're not going to do as well. But it's an interesting process, and I was glad to see that we've come together and we all are on the same page how it works. And then we'll kind of work through it to see to the final day. On that final day, the teachers are asked questions, you know, they pull them aside, have you had observations, you know, just kind of questioning, make sure that they've done what we say they should have done. And then maybe they'll ask me some questions. I remember when I did it last time, it was more of a conversation. It wasn't really questions, you know, it was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was very relaxed. There wasn't anything to get you. You know, I don't think their job is to punish a district, just to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, which isn't a bad thing. So, and I'm very confident that we do what we're supposed to do, so I'm not concerned.
Any questions for Judy, Michelle?
So I have the utmost confidence that we're going to come through this with flying colors. I mean, I know we go through with great diligence in everything that we do across our school, so I have no concerns. Just wondering, how long does it take to get the results of this?
I believe last time we got the results via a letter in, I think it was June?
Yes.
In June. So
Okay.
if they do the visit in March, usually it will come by June.
Okay.
We'll know.
All right, thank you.
And we get 5 areas of scoring.
Thank you.
And as Bob had said, you know, the two times ago, we had a very rigorous person came to observe, you know, get the information. Last time, it was somebody who was a little more relaxed and not as, I don't know, demanding. Yeah, a different style is a nice way to put it, so.
Yeah, so it's the New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, did I get that right?
Yeah.
So, and as you said, they're not out to, use your language, get anybody, but it is the report card for the district. So it is an important metric that we use. It's every 3 years. I know Robin historically has loved going through CUSAC, right? Absolutely. Okay, so, yeah, another one to go through. But thanks for participating in the committee. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Did you have a? You did have a
committee report. Yeah.
Oh,
So
sorry about that.
no worries. So last night, the Educational Services Commission of Morris County met, and it was business as usual, nothing abnormal. But there was one success story to highlight for everyone. So about 2 years ago, the superintendent set the goal of having the state sell the Centric Park School to the ESC of Morris County, and that has officially gone through. So that was a great success that they wanted to recognize, and it's a great achievement that I know it took a lot of effort to make happen, and I just wanted to pause here and recognize their success in that.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate that. And I just had a couple of things. Local 32 is the association representing the district's custodians, maintenance personnel, and bus drivers. And negotiations with them will commence next week on October 16th. The negotiating committee is Jack, Tim, and myself, and we will have an initial meeting with them to establish ground rules and determine what they might be looking to negotiate about, and we'll do the same. Once the committee has that information, we'll report back to the full board in closed session, update the board on what we think the parameters we should establish for negotiations, so we have board approval, and we'll begin negotiations in earnest after that. Did you,
Liaison.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let's see, we have next Thursday a Board of Education work session to establish board goals for the upcoming year. That'll be in this building at 5:30. Also on the 17th, the superintendent reached out to Mayor Barbario regarding a school walkthrough. So we will be doing a school walkthrough to 4 schools in the morning of October 17th. The annual NJSBA workshop will be on October 21st, 24th. Mrs. Benos will send out information shortly, and you should be on the lookout via email for your workshop passes. That will be sent directly to you by the NJSBA. And next board meeting will be on October 29th at 6:30, and we will continue with our Committee of the Whole committee meetings with finance scheduled for that evening. I'm sorry, Wendy, please.
No. And I don't know if Chief would like to comment. The CPAC, the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee, had a virtual meeting on September 25th, attended by Ms. Abraham and myself. It was led by Dr. Keith Corfright, who it was an introduction to the year, and it was very much appreciated. I thought it gave a great amount of information about the breadth of services offered to special education students, and particularly useful, I thought, was kind of a walkthrough of all of the different specialized classrooms that are offered in the district, and the ways in which special services is kind of imagining how to get targeted services to the students that need them in the best environments possible, while also attending to making sure these students are also in the least restrictive environments. And so I would just want to comment that it was a really appreciated presentation, and I look forward to more from CPAC.
Chief, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I just want to say thank you for her for taking notes as well, because I was driving at the time. So. But thank you so much, Wendy. Great.
Allison.
Sorry. I attended 2 meetings that I just want to make sure the information is in the packets, but the legislative committee was last Saturday. I did not attend the meeting, but the legislative updates were provided, so those are now in your board packets so that you can see what the state legislative committee has been doing. And then I also attended the Bergen County meeting, which was on AI in schools, and it was very interesting. Obviously, many schools are doing different things and are accepting different things about AI, but he gave a pretty comprehensive presentation on what different schools were doing and how they were using it in the school, so that will be in your packet too. I just emailed it to Joni today, so it wasn't in there before, but it will be in there, and it was a good presentation. So if you're wondering how schools are using AI, it might be worth, looking at his presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Just as a reminder from what Allison had just said, the County School Board Association still are holding virtual meetings. You can sign up for them by going on the NJSBA website and looking at what meetings you might like to attend and attend virtually. During COVID, I think all of them for quite some time were being scheduled that way, and it was interesting, as Allison said, to see what people in Salem or Camden County were doing with their county school board association. So if you have the opportunity, that's also it helps you get credit for board member certification. So it has a dual purpose. Let's see, we are at the approval of the executive session and regular meetings of September 24th. May I have a motion to approve those meetings? Judy, seconded by Wendy. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Abraham?
Yes.
Mr. Barrios?
Yes.
Mrs. Kogan?
Yes.
Mrs. Mayer?
Yes.
Mr. Rhea?
Yes.
Mrs. Chappelle?
Yes.
Dr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Chapa?
Yes. Thank you. Dr. Sutter, would you care to update us on Superintendent's Bulletin number 5 this evening?
Thank you, President Chaffo.
You can call me Doctor. That's fine.
Doctor. Our supervisor of science, industrial arts, Rachel Villanova, and our supervisor of mathematics and business, Brian McCourt, are meeting with Joe Flynn, a senior associate at H2M Architects and Engineers, to discuss Parsippany Troy Hills high school students joining the ACE Mentor New Jersey program, which is an initiative to provide high school students with mentorships in the fields of architecture, construction, and engineering. Mr. Flynn explained that in reviewing the programming offered at the Parsippany Troy Hills School District, I see there are several programs in place, such as the STEM program, so I thought it would be appropriate to open the opportunity up to the students of Parsippany Troy Hills, so which we're excited about that. I would like to welcome and introduce our new Assistant Business Administrator, Ms. Colleen Briggs, to her first BOE meeting. Welcome, Colleen. Ms. Briggs has been on the job now for a few weeks and is doing an excellent job. Congratulations to Sarah Munson and her choir officers at Parsippany Hills High School for creating a podcast titled The Practice Room. The podcast was designed as an outreach program. However, it is really special to listen to these kids talk about how important it is to them to be part of such a special choir program. And finally, as Ms. Mayor mentioned, we had our first PTA council meeting on Tuesday, October 8th. And we had a very good turnout of principals and PTA presidents. Tonight, for your approval, we have superintendent bulletin items 1 through 39 with addendum and read-in items 40 through 61.
Thanks. Do I have any questions for Dr. Sutter? No? Okay, seeing none, move on to the Secretary's report. Mrs. Tedesco.
Hi, everyone. On tonight's Secretary's report, we have our regular business motions, including the approval of the purchase of cafeteria equipment for Parsippany High School. And that will be funded through Child Nutrition Program funding. Does anybody have any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any new business to come before the board? No, seeing none. Hearing of the public. Sorry, I have to read this again because at this time, if there's anyone who would like to address the board, please come up, sign your name and address in the book at the lectern, and state your name for the record, and please address the chair. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak to the board. It will be helpful if you would like to address the board to please come up now and sign the book so that you are ready when the first speaker is finished. As a reminder, we are video recording this meeting. If you are a student who wishes to speak, we ask that you not provide your home address, but rather give only the name of the municipality in which you live. If you are a parent wishing to discuss a specific matter pertaining to your child during this portion of the meeting, you may request that the board temporarily suspend the video recording. Alternatively, please consider speaking privately about the matter to the superintendent after the meeting. Speakers should refrain from using specific student or staff names in their comments and refer to bylaw 0168 for further information regarding the videotaping of our meetings. Would anyone like to address the board? Lamia.
Hi, good evening. I just have some questions about those superintendents, and I know so about the PTA
Is that better? So it was like hard, like, oh, we cannot accept Zelle, we cannot accept Venmo, and it was so hard to kind of like keep running all these fundraisers, and at the end of the day, you're making pennies, and we're like, okay, parents can, you know, can we donate or whatever, but then we can donate from local stores. Or, you know, if they're saying, you know, so it was kind of like a lot, even though my son is a 6th grader and I didn't go, like, I'm not going through that this year. But really, I think like the parents are having a 5th grader this year, they're gonna have, even though if you raise it to 130, where is all that money comes from? Because at the end of the day, we want locks, we want shirts, we want this, we want that, but it's not making it. And then the parents, like, it's a lot of work to just, so that was one thing I wanted to just bring up. The other thing, I'm not sure what committee Tim was attending for that meeting, because I didn't actually get, like, I didn't understand what you were reporting about the can, like, are you agreeing with it, or you're saying that we should, like, I wasn't sure, like, I didn't get what, oh, yeah, okay. The other thing I wanted to ask, if there was any, like, shadow a board member kind of thing to kind of see what you guys do, to learn more, if not, or it's always like a closed, based on who are the board members. So it's kind of like to get some information to learn what's going on and just educate myself more, but I was asking if there's such a thing. Other than that, I don't have anything. You know, good job to everyone and good luck to everyone who's running. Thank you. Have a good night.
Anyone else like to address the public? No? Okay. We'll close the public session. Dr. Sutter?
Sure, Lamia, thank you for your questions. As much as I hate to pass the buck with the PTA, you might want to reach out to Ms. Cadian about that information, because she'd be better served to answer that for you than I would. Yeah. With regards to your question to Mr. Barrios, I don't want to speak for Mr. Barrios, but I believe he was at a town council meeting, and he was reporting back on the information that was given at the town council meeting.
Correction.
Oh.
Town.
My apology, yeah. I'm sorry. It wasn't a town council. What this was a this was given, information session given at the library.
Okay.
That was open to the public. So it was open to all Parsippany residents, as obviously a taxpaying citizen, as a member of the board. I wanted to go to educate myself.
And with regards to shadowing, we are having an open committee once a month, so you can come, Lamia, to see how the committee meeting works, if that's something that you're interested in. I believe we have that out, right, Ms. Benos? We have. It's on the meeting notices, so you can see how the committee process works.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the district website, the meetings are there. And one of the things we did this year to, as you said, understand what board members do, we have the committees of the whole for certain committees throughout the year. And then next Thursday, we have the board goal setting meeting here from 5:30 to 6:30. So you feel free to attend that. You know, other than that, board members tend not to talk to each other a whole lot outside of board meetings or committee meetings for a number of reasons. So there's not like this secret society where we're all meeting outside of the public eye. So if you want to come to work with me, I work down in Warren. You can hang out at work and get shot on me at work. But the role of a board member, it's while it does take a lot of time, most of it's done either in committee, which we report out on, or in the public. There's not a lot of discussion beyond that.
I don't know if I can ask back, but it's not about to know what you're discussing. It's for me to learn how. Maybe I decide to be a board member. You never know, so I want to be prepared.
Thank you.
Can I just add,
Sure.
not this May, but the last May, we had a whole presentation on how to be a board member.
Yep.
And that was,
And that's on the website.
yes.
Yeah. Parsippany High School, right? There was a whole. Yeah. Michelle.
Sorry, and just to add,
Yep.
if you go back, one of our meetings in September, we actually had our first meeting of the whole, where we had the transportation, and Dr. Wright led that. So it's a good example, so you can see how that works.
Okay, thank you. Okay, public session is now closed. We're going to move on to Superintendent's Bulletin number 5, items 1 through 39, with addendum items 40 through 61 and read-ins. May I have a motion, please? Michelle? Second, Allison? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Abraham?
Yes.
Mr. Barrios?
Okay, this is going to get complicated. Recuse number 29. Recuse on addendum item 60 and read-in item number 1129. Yes to everything else.
Mrs. Kogan?
Yes.
Mrs. Mayer?
Yes.
Mr. Rhea?
Yes.
Mrs. Chappelle?
Yes.
Dr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Chapa?
Yes. Seeing no other business, motion to adjourn our meeting. Shethel, seconded by Judy, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you.